Hey, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer. Thank you for tuning into this video. USGS reports for 2020 silver reserves and silver production. These are the numbers, these are the hard statistics showing what's going on with silver production, demand, supply, all of that can easily influence the price, one of the biggest influencers. So the link to this article from Seeking Alpha will be in the description. It was written today, so it is fresh off the press. And with that said, let's jump into it. So each year, the U.S. Geological Survey publishes a report on world mine production and reserves. As precious metals investors, we are especially interested in the silver segment of this report, which gives us extremely valuable information on the supply side of the silver market, like I just said. So you can see right here, here's the 5-year silver chart. You can see it was around almost the $21 range back in 2016. We saw right here almost again, right after July, that $20 mark. And the 10-year chart's interesting because that's when silver was $50. So we've seen this stability around $14 where the support line stays above, but supply and demand can easily go into play, and this is what this article is talking about. So the silver price has risen 20% since last year, ever since the Federal Reserve started cutting rates and initiating its repo program. Rabobank expects more rate cuts in 2020 due to the slowing economy, so that should boost silver investment demand. On the other hand, we also need to look at the supply side of the silver market. Most of the silver supply is produced as byproduct from base metal mining, and that means that it's by accident. It's by accident. They're finding silver by accident. They're not really focusing on silver or digging silver out of the ground. So this is a new trend that has started a few years ago as primary silver production declined while base metal byproduct silver production increased. 37.7% of silver production comes as a byproduct of zinc and lead in mine supply, while 23% comes as byproduct of copper production. Thus, 61% of the global silver production is a result of copper, zinc, and lead. So you can see that most silver that's found is actually by accident. They don't really focus on digging up silver because it's not as profitable. So here is an actual chart showing. So copper is yellow, the gray is gold, and the orange is lead and zinc. And this is other, which is blue. So you can see a lot of it is from, that's what they're focusing on. This is what they're focusing on. We are seeing a decrease in demand for base metals this year due to a slowdown in the economy, and also due to the effects of the U.S.-China trade war, and more recently the outbreak of the coronavirus. Copper took a big hit after the announcement of the coronavirus outbreak in China in January 2020. Chinese copper traders declared a force majeure on lower copper demand. I cannot stress enough how important China is on demand perspective. If China decides to quarantine cities, borders, airlines, manufacturing plants, this will have a huge impact on demand for base metals. Asia is the largest consumer of commodities, and a decrease in demand for base metals will lead to a decrease in production of silver as a byproduct of base metal mining. So they're saying that if they start decreasing base metals from lower demand because of coronavirus and all this stuff, then silver could get hit even harder because then they're not even finding silver from byproduct. This is dangerous waters, especially as demand does increase from the digital age we're going into. Supply cannot meet that. Man, this is getting dangerous. So here's the 1-year copper spot, and you can see a huge drop off. Interestingly, the Statista reported that silver coming from primary silver miners decreased significantly in 2018, and this trend is going to continue going forward. Primary silver miners have enormous problems with declining ore grades, and this is starting to show up in numbers. Also, very important to note that declining primary silver supply only has minimal effect on the silver price because most of the supply is coming from base metal byproduct, 74%. So they're saying that even if the declining primary silver supply is minimal effect, a lot of silver is found from byproducts. So even if we aren't digging up silver, a lot of it it's actually making it up. A lot of ground is getting made up from it finding accidentally. So Here's a chart for this. You can see it goes from the blue is 2011 and the purple is 2018. So you can see how drastic it is. The 2020 USG report shows that silver production and silver reserves are trending upwards. Mexico and Peru are still the two largest silver producers in the world, and Peru is the leader in silver reserves. Peru's silver reserves increased from I think that's 110,000 to 120,000 tons, while Poland's reserves decreased from 110,000 to 100,000 tons. It looked like 2014 was the year of the peak silver production, but in 2019, global silver production managed to increase again to 27,000 tons per year. When we extrapolate these charts, we can estimate that silver will be depleted in about 20 years, if not sooner, as the average mine life of a silver is currently only 10 years. So, let me reread that. When we extrapolate the charts, we can estimate that silver will be depleted in about 20 years, if not sooner, as the average mine life of a silver mine is currently only 10 years. But again, it surprises me that silver production and silver reserves both managed to go up in 2019. And that's what I was interested. That was the shocking part of this article when I was reading this, because we know about silver mines being abandoned, silver supply diminishing, but the production went up, and that's from the byproduct. But it's still interesting, and I definitely think that silver is on a very narrow road, going nowhere fast, and the price is going to catch up to it sooner than later. I mean, we already see industrial demand paying premiums because they know this is a shortage. So, world mine production and reserves. Reserves for Australia, Peru, and Poland were revised based on new information from the official government sources. So, United States, 2018. Mine production to 2019, so 25,000 reserves. And this shows some of the top, these are all the top producers of silver: Mexico, Peru, Chile, Australia, China. All these countries are the biggest for silver production. So you can see these graphs right here, silver reserves in tons. You can compare at the bottom, it shows US, compare it to all these other ones. And now let's break this down. Let's take a closer look at the three largest silver producers: Mexico, Peru, and China. During 2019, we saw that Peru's silver reserves have risen to an impressive 120,000 tons. On the production side, Peru has been doing well since 2013, with base metal mine production rising 30% from 2013 to 2017. But in 2018, we saw mining production declining again. However, Peru expects its copper production to grow 27% and gold output to expand 12% in the next 3 years by 2022. So what that means is, actually, since they're going to be boosting gold and copper, this could actually mean we could catch up with silver, since it is a byproduct. So here's base metal mining for Peru from 2010 to 2018. So you can see it's slightly going up, but it still is stagnant. And here's Peru's copper production from 2000 to 2022. So now let's take a look at Mexico. It's been projected that 212 million ounces of silver will be produced in Mexican mines in 2020. The chart below from the Trading Economics shows how Mexico's overall mining production improved in 2019. Silver reserves were unchanged at 37,000 tons. So the third largest producer of silver is China, and we have seen a nice comeback in 2018-2019. Silver production in China comes primarily from byproduct of lead and zinc, 95%. So when I say this byproduct, how silver is being found by accident, basically, from gold, lead, and zinc, it's to extreme degrees. No one's really focusing on silver because it's not profitable. So we need to take a closer look at base metal mining. Mining production in China increased 5.6% in December of 2019 over the same month in the previous year. So it is likely that silver production will be growing in China, and silver reserves were unchanged at 41,000 tons. So looking at these numbers, base metal mining has been doing very well, and a lot of silver is coming from there as a byproduct. Nevertheless, it is a fact that silver reserves and grades are coming down, and we'll be facing future while silver production is decreasing as well. These decreases in primary silver production is evident of that. So the conclusion is that primary silver mines face a deteriorating trend in their production profile, and the amount of capital being put into exploration is almost non-existent. So more and more silver will need to come in as byproduct from base metal mining. That's what it's relying on, basically. It's holding on by a string. Base metal mining production has seen a nice uptrend in 2019, but a recession could put a dent in that. and also the silver supply. And there is only one real cure to lower silver production, and that is higher silver prices. Nevertheless, the current trend is still pointing towards rising silver reserves, and silver production this could reverse at any time. I thought this was a very important article. One of my favorite articles I've read in a long time, just because it shows the stats, it shows historical patterns, and it shows where it's headed in the future. I definitely think this is exactly what we're talking about when we're talking about potential in the world of precious metals. So, like I said, the link to this article will be in the description. Let me know what you guys think about this. Do you guys think that this is all going to conclude to higher silver prices? Do you think that silver has potential, or do you think that something needs to change? I really am curious. So make sure to smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe if you're new, because I do post daily videos. Thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.